Hey everybody, welcome back to Up Your Game with Mike and Jula. Hey guys, I just want to tell you a little story today about why I became a chiropractor. So basically, long story short, I love to snowboard, and for years and years, we'd go up with my buddies and we'd go to big resorts, Park City, Utah, stuff like that. Shout out, whoop! And basically, I went over a few big jumps. I thought I was hotter than I really was at the time, and landed fine. Everything was cool. Went home 2 days later, woke up, couldn't move my legs. Like, feeling in my legs, couldn't move them. So after about 2 months of going to neurologists, to orthopedists, to, homeopathic doctor, to anybody that can try to figure out, MRIs, CT scans, x-rays, everyone was trying to figure out, like, why was I having this motor paralysis? So anyways, I had a sour taste in my mouth about chiropractors. So the reason for that is I struggled with headaches and migraines kind of growing up. And I went to a chiropractor years before that, and the guy just wasn't very good communicating. He wasn't ideal at letting me know what he was going to do before he did it. And then he would go and do an adjustment. And at the time I was like, why is my headaches getting worse? Like, what's going on? Headaches aren't feeling better. I didn't like him. His personality didn't work with me. It wasn't kosher. I never went back. So, anyways, now fast forward. Now I'm in a snowboard accident. Can't feel my legs. I went to everybody there was, and I couldn't walk. So here we are, and I I ended up calling my mom, and she's like, "Hey, you got to go try out my chiropractor. He's the best." And I'm like, okay, yeah, well, I've tried everything. Nobody's working. Nobody could figure out why I was having this motor paralysis on my legs. I couldn't bear weight, and if I could, it wasn't much. So I went from fully athletic, capable snowboarding to incapacitated, not really working right. So I go to this chiropractor. He takes a look at me, kind of feels my back a little bit, does a few little tests, and gives me some x-rays. I'm like, oh great, here we go again. I've already had x-rays. Well, anyways, he takes some x-rays of my spine. And he's like, all right, well, hey, it was nice meeting you. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, okay, why? And he goes, well, I'm going to take a look at these x-rays and then figure out what's going on with you, and then I'll give you an answer tomorrow as to what's going on. But I think I have a pretty good idea and a good gist of how we're going to help you out. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, at least he provided hope for me, and he was able to at least give me some sort of an answer as to why people haven't figured out in the past. He's going to go a little bit more in depth and figure it out. So I was like, all right, whatever. Came back the next day. So we're doing what he calls his report of findings, which a lot of chiropractors do, and even medical professionals do. They kind of report what they found the next day. And essentially he points to the screen. Actually, I can kind of show you the screen. It was a screen that was very similar to this. Well, at the time, it wasn't a screen. It was a box, a light box. Most of you guys who went into the doctors back in the day, they weren't screens. Everything wasn't digital. Everything was on film. But anyways, he points to the film. He points to this little area of my spine, and he goes, "Hey, you were born without this piece of bone, essentially, that protects your spinal cord in this area. You just fell perfectly, wham, and it kind of inflamed that area." I was like, perfect, cool, that's awesome. What are you going to do? He's like, well, I'm going to adjust you. And I'm going to adjust a specific area. It's going to decrease the pressure on the cord, and it's going to accelerate the healing process. No joke, I walked out of his office that day. 50% better, one adjustment. Now, I've been in practice close to 10 years now, and I tell patients all the time, listen, I'm no magician. I'm no I'm no genie. I luck out if something like that happens, and I'm just living right that day. Anyways, he must have been living right that day. Chiropractic, God was like, hey, this is what's going to heal you. And so I started going to chiropractors for a year. Go to Dr. Josh, that was his name. And he, throughout the year, he would just educate me on kind of the whole process of what it is to become a chiropractor. I was like, perfect, weekend seminar, boom, let's become a chiropractor. Turns out apparently it's a little more in depth than that, and and so I had to go back to school, had to go do some pre-med, had to go do the whole rigmarole, anyways, I eventually applied to chiropractic school. Get into chiropractic school, and holy crap, was that a world of change for me. Meanwhile, look at me, I'm nothing fancy. Look at me. I was not a good student. I still am not a good student. All I did is I learned how to kind of essentially up my game under pressure. I learned how to study. I learned how to not complain. I learned how to just get shit done. And anyways, throughout my first couple of years, there was multiple times I almost failed, just because the work ethic was so taxing and burdensome that I didn't know if I could do it. But I overcame, because obviously it was something that I wanted to do, and that's a pretty good lesson. A lot of people, they say they're not good at something, but usually they're not good at it because they don't want to do it. They don't have a passion for it. They don't have a will to want that, to win in that category. And so I just want to encourage everybody that, like me, I hated school. I love sports, hated school, hated reading, liked watching movies. Obviously, those don't go hand in hand with being a successful physician on any level, whether it be a chiropractor, doctor, dentist, lawyer, or even successful in any other profession in the world that revolves diligence and professionalism and just really a will to win. So anyways, let's go into second years of chiropractic. I kind of got in there and started succeeding, started realizing this is a passion of mine. And that's why I said that chiropractic chose me. Is I was hurt, I was a hater, I was a naysayer, and somehow this profession kind of pulled me up, taught me how to be a man, taught me how to study. And then when you're in the gunk and you're in the dirt and things are just coming at you 1,000 miles an hour that you've never heard before, that's your make or break season. And around try 4, I'll say 4 through 6 really is when things get heated up. It's when you become, hey, either this is going to deliver me and I can be this best version of myself, or it's, hey, I might not be cut out for this. And because you can have all the knowledge and the book smarts, but if you don't execute, meaning if you're not going out there and preparing yourself on what it's going to be like to treat a new patient, what it's going to be like to manage somebody, what it's going to be like to have somebody's care in your hands, you're done. And that's when I really kind of came into my own, was in the treating. So first year in clinic, I get to clinic and I crush it. I had set up some patients going into it around 4, 5, and 6 trimesters in Dallas. Shout out to Dallas. Woo! There's a place called Bikinis. There was a sports bar that me and a few buddies would go to. But during that time, I would kind of nurture these relationships with these waitresses and bartenders. And by the time try 8 hit and I had to get into clinic, boom, I was off and running. And I had these women coming in that I've already built a relationship with over the past year, and so they already trusted me. So it's very cool to see that you need to look forward. You can't be looking to, well, tomorrow I have this next week I have this. It's no, 6 months, a year out, you need to prepare for that moment, because if you don't, you're going to be sitting there stuck, like a lot of my classmates were. A lot of my classmates were sitting there struggling just to get 1, 2, 3, 4, even up to 10 people in, and then yet alone get them adjusted and ready to roll. Whereas I had already nurtured some relationships, and I was able to get out of clinic quick. And from there, I moved on to a residence internship position, and kind of get that real life experience. And luckily, I went under a guy that was hyper successful. Once again, I didn't choose his office. I was kind of going into more of a faith-based, precision type chiropractic office. And this other guy pulls me out and goes, no, I want you, we're going to be soft tissue based, we're going to be functional based, and we're going to treat athletes, and we're going to, make you work, essentially. And I was like, okay, well, I went into this place. It was Dr. Troy Van Beesen. He's a chiro sports specialist in Dallas. Truthfully, man, he threw me to the wolves. He made me work for it. He made me read these more books before I could even touch his patients, and it was the biggest blessing I could have had. He taught me that, these are real patients, these are real dollars coming in for treatment, and you better, once again, up your game to the next level, or else you're not going to succeed. So that's kind of my story. After that, after my internship, after graduating, I moved back to Arizona. I started a practice in Scottsdale, Arizona, working with athletes, and failed. Actually, I lost 24K my first year. Had $220 in my bank account for me and my wife. I had a child that was less than a year old, and my wife was just now pregnant. So we would have one, eventually I had a 2-year-old and a newborn. So life gets rough, and it's what you do to get yourself out of that situation is going to move you forward. Now you can look back 10 years later, and I'm an owner and partner of Valley Spinal Care. I have surgery centers, and it's a great story. But from the outside looking in, it's like, oh, look at this guy. He's hyper successful. He's a chiropractor. He knows how to run the show. Not really. I've kind of busted my tail. I've had to up my game many times, and it's kind of who I am today. But yeah, chiropractic chose me. It chose me for the, for the reasons I didn't know about. And I think my faith has a lot to do with it. I also think that when you're willing to sacrifice everything and lay it down right there in front of you and take it in, look at it and be like, I need to change. I need to internally reflect on what I want in this life, and am I going down the path to do it? If you're not, you can always change the path to your goal, and the goal could stay the same. But just because the path didn't work out doesn't mean you can't choose another route, right? You just got to choose something that works for you and be diligent about it and keep pursuing it. Guys, hey, I want to, peace out from here. Next video I'm going to kind of put out is going to be about associate doctors, why it's beneficial to be an associate doctor, pros, cons, pay, what to expect, kind of mindset when you are an associate doctor, why doctors like me hire associate doctors, and is it just a stepping stone versus is that a permanent solution? So guys, I look forward to talking to you soon. Peace out.